Hello, everybody. Allow me to extend a warm welcome to you from the Memmert family. Globally active, always considering innovations, as well as committed to tradition and responsibility toward our customers, employees, and environment, that has always been very important for us. And according to Willy Memmert, the founder of the company Memmert, it is the company philosophy for success. Thank you so much for joining in our 2 days webinar, Why You Should Rely on Memmert Devices. My name is Andrea. I'm joining the company Memmert for more than 15 years. I will be the speaker today. We will have a webinar of approximately 45-50 minutes. We will have a demonstration and also a live demonstration today. I will get support from my colleagues. One is Annika from marketing team, and also there is Franzi. She is in charge of the chat function. So please kindly use the chat function today and please pose your questions, and Franzi will be very glad to reply to you. As mentioned, the founder Willy Memmert stated and started with the manufacturing of temperature-controlled devices, though he started with the manufacturing of hot air sterilizers in 1947. Since then, the precise temperature controlling is a very important factor for us. Of course, still today. And when we consider nowadays the Memmert world, we are comprising controlled atmosphere, which means first priority, we are in regards to precision, in homogeneity, reliability, and functionality of our units. So nowadays, we have enlarged our product range and we can control the temperature, we can control the atmosphere, which includes CO2 and O2, as well as humidity. We would like to do this in a very professional way, and we would like to fulfill the request and standards or norms our customers have to fulfill. So we are talking today about special features, and we will have more information and details on these requests, what you are also looking for, and that means also special features, what you would like to have requested for the unit to fulfill your demands. And we would like to go on with these different characters of the Memmert product. Let me start with the first 5 most important features. So let's start with feature talking about modularity and flexibility. When we talk about this feature, then please kindly have in mind that in our standard execution of Memmert products, you have, for example, 2 grids included when we talk about the big oven in the size 750 or 1060. And here we can add on the different grids and shelf to go up to 14 pieces. So it's depending on your requests what the unit will have as an execution. First one, we will have more details and information in intuitive operation. When we talk about the intuitive operation, we would like to point out the very easy handling of our units. It's a 3-step controlling, and that is really very, very easy. Next one, we would like to go on with material and quality. So we will have the point in regard to the quality of the products, what we will talk about our units today. Furthermore, we will also talk about the comfort. So we will talk about the comfort, which means convenience during the working process. And also we will have one point which refers to the hygiene. And when we talk about the hygiene of our products, then we will also have the topic in regard to the sterilization function of our products, which is standard for our CO2 incubators, also for our incubators of the twin class, which means the IN plus, IF plus. And that's why I also would like to pose my first question to you. So it will be our first poll today. And the question will be, with the standard sterilization program of the CO2 incubator, there can be sterilized the whole interior, including all sensors. How many sensors are sterilized if the CO2 incubator EcoMat is executed with the K7, which is active humidity control, which is an option, and T6, which is the control of oxygen concentration? So how many sensors can stay in the unit? You don't have to take out when you do the sterilization process of the CO2 incubator will be 4, 5, or 6. So result will be given later on during the presentation. Now, let's go on and let's start with our presentation. Here on this presentation, you can already see the extensive product range of Memmert. And as mentioned, since 1947, we are doing the temperature controlled units. And here on the pictures with the products for controlling humidity, we can see the vacuum oven controlling the pressure. We can also see a CO2 incubator, which is in regard to the controlling of the CO2. Furthermore, let's go to the next file and let's start now with the topic in regard to modularity and flexibility. So as already mentioned, we have these grids and shelves. Here I also would like to show you the shelf, which is also possible to use for our units. So it's depending on your application if you want to go by a grid or a shelf. So for example, if uniformity is very, very important, then a grid is a very good choice. If you have to go for the shelf here, if you have some samples and it is necessary to have a very smooth surface, then you go for the shelf, please. So that means the adjustment is to your own needs, and that is in regard to your optimal product performance, which means we can add on any entry ports, or we can go on with the software confirming to FDA Atomo control, which is a possibility. Then we have these two types in regard to the natural circulation or air force convection. That also depends on your application. So for example, if a very fast heating up is requested, then use the blower. Also, if you have a lot of loading and you go for a huge product, please kindly use the unit with the blower, because that is also giving an influence on a very, very good uniformity inside. Then we have these two types of display controllers, a single type or a twin type. So it's also depending if you are looking for, let's say, more simple application, or if a ramping is necessary, or you need to control additional parameters, like, for example, humidity, or also if you have a unit and you would like to run the unit with light. We have in our unit, for example, the HPP Echo with light. This product is, for example, used for the breeding of zebrafishes. The zebrafishes are going to be used for these applications because they have a strong biological similarity to humans. And due to the transparent embryos that develop outside the mother's body, grow fast. One fish lay 200-300 eggs per week, so that it is very good for research, because that can be done statistically very verified at minimum costs. And here also to consider the temperature, which is here for this breeding, done at 28 degrees, which is a very good temperature also for our HPP Echo models. Yeah, we also have here different humidity systems, and let's have a look to the drawing here, to the picture. Here you can see the interior of a CO2 incubator. This CO2 incubator has the water tray installed, and this water tray is a standard delivery execution. Along with the water tray, we can already reach a high high humidity inside. That is a standard execution. Additionally, we can add a sensor, so that means also you can see the humidity inside, or we can go for the active humidity control of our CO2 incubator, which is actually also an option. So that means that the unit will be having an additional controlling of the humidity. So that means you have an external water tray, then will be heated up drop by drop, and as very fine steam, it enters a chamber. This system with the active humidity control, which as standard also have a humidity sensor included, is very positive if you need to have very fast recovery times, if you have to have very precise controlling of the humidity, and also if you have to look up, if you heat up this water drop by drop, there is already a killing of germs and fungi before it enters the interior. So that has a lot of advantages if you go for the CO2 incubator with the active humidity control. Let's go to the next file. That refers to the intuitive operation. And as mentioned, this is really very simple. So we have just touch, turn, and go. That means you just have to touch the area next to the parameters you would like to control. Then you change the knob, and then you confirm it, and then you have set the data. So it's very simple and intuitive operation in regard to this very nice control cockpit. You can control parameters like the temperature. You can have the speed of the fan. Then there's also air flap position, which can be controlled in 10% step. Then it's always just very easy in 3 steps and is actually self-explanatory display functions. During this operation, there are also status messages, for example, current status of heating or ventilation and air flap, as well as, for example, time, or also in case any error arises, then there will be signals in regard to the alarm in a visibility way, and also there's acoustic alarm included. So very easy controlling. Let's go to the next one. This refers now to the operation and also to the differences of the single and twin display. When we talk to the single display, then we have here what you can see on this controller on the left side, the temperature, we have the blower, the air flap, and a timer, which is the standard execution for this oven with blower in a single class. And you can also get in a second menu. In a second menu, there's also the possibility in order to set an IP address, because also this standard execution of single class model type, they have an Ethernet connection as standard. Furthermore, they have a PT100 sensor, which is for long-term stability. And also we have here protection for the unit and set point weight function. When we talk about this single display, this refers to UN, UF, INIF, IPP echo, then also to the medical oven or incubator M, and also to the sterilizers and blanket warmer. If we go now on to the twin display, which also actually is an indication when you hear the wording plus in our model types, then we have here additional parameters, and that means extensional operation is possible if we compare it to the single class. So here we have additional parameters. Whenever it comes up to humidity control, then we go for this twin class model type. Whenever a ramping is requested, which means we have to heat up in different steps, cool down in different steps, then there comes the twin class model into consideration. So here, this refers to HPP echo, ICH echo, ICH HCP, which is the climate chambers, then all the oven with plus, then also the incubators with plus, and also cooled incubators with plus, which is here, for example, the indication ICP echo and ICP, or also here sterilizers plus or the EcoMet product. Twin class model, they also have some additional features. Here it's in regard to a heat balance, also in regard to two PT100 sensors. These two PT100 sensors, they can communicate with each other and even take over the operation exactly at the set temperature. So that is also a possibility here. And in the standard delivery execution, there is the software Atmo control included. The software Atmo control you are using in order to create a program also to read out the data. For single display, Atmo control software for reading out protocol data is then available as an option. Let's go on to the next file. And let's now have a look to the quality of the products. Quality, this is something what is very well known for the Memmert product. So whenever you see a Memmert product on the market, you can recognize it by the stainless steel, because we are using the structured stainless steel outside and we having stainless steel in the interior. Here we are using material 1.4301, which is ASTM 34304 for the interior. So it is no corrosion, scratch resistant, robust, hygienic, and very easy to clean. And it looks also very, very nicely. When we consider, for example, our vacuum oven, please kindly take in mind that because here there might be aggressive substances which are also to be used in vacuum oven. Also, we are working here with pressure. So that means here the inner chamber and the thermal shelves have stainless steel, which is made out of 1.4404, which is ASTM 316L. Let's go further. Let's have a look to the comfort. When we talk about the comfort, then we would like to consider also the surface touching of the model type. That means even if you use an oven which has as a standard temperature range up to 300 degrees, and you operate at 300 degrees and you touch it, you will have a temperature which is lower than 65 degrees, because here we are following a DIN norm which is called 61010.1. That is in regard to lower temperature when we look up the unit. Further very nice advantage is here the change of door hinges even afterwards. This means if you set up a product from Memmert in your laboratory and you open it from left to the right, you can change the hinge, and then you can also open it from left to the right side. So that means it's very easy in case you have to look for the space in your laboratory and you have, let's say, to change the door hinges, and it's better for you to open the other way around. So this can even be done afterwards when the unit is directly set up in the laboratory. When we look up the doors, there is a door which is actually very easily to be opened, almost like magic. And for easy operation, there is USB port for the twin class also included, which means you might either use the Ethernet connection for reading out the data or also uploading a profile which you have created by the Atmo control software, or even you use the USB pen drive. The USB pen drive you can just use with your laptop. Then you create your program by using the Atmo Save software. Then you store it on the USB pen drive. You go to the unit, you upload your profile. So that is also very easy for operation. And we have the international power connection. So that means our units come with this power connection. So that is separately, and that is individual for the different countries. That is for the 230 volt applications for our units. And also we have 400 voltage, then is a different connector, but here we have this international power connections. Yeah, let's go on to the next file. We already briefly had the question in the beginning when we talked about hygiene, and I mentioned that here the main topic will refer to the sterilization. When we talk about sterilization, I guess that you sometimes come across different wordings like disinfection, decontamination, or hot air sterilization. Actually, only the hot air sterilization is the process where you really kill all the germs and fungi. That means here it is a real killing. In comparison, for example, if it's disinfection, that means you cannot kill all germs and fungi, or when we talk about decontamination, which is a general term that describes the removal of dangerous contaminants. So only for hot air sterilization, there is also different norms available. For example, the European Pharmacopoeia, or the Japanese Pharmacopoeia or British Pharmacopoeia. So they mention about this hot air sterilization process, and they say it's done at 160 degrees for either 120 minutes or for 60 minutes, or even the Robert Koch Institute give information in regard to the hot air sterilization process. And in Robert Koch Institute, there's, for example, mentioned you should do it at 180 degrees for 30 minutes. And that means with our product in the CO2 incubator, we have already included this sterilization process at 100 degrees, which means it heats up to 180 degrees. Then this will be kept for this period of time before it's going to be cooled down. So we keep really 180 degrees for 60 minutes, and the total time for sterilization is 6.5 hours, including heating up and cooling down to 50 degrees. What we have to consider if we start the sterilization process, we remove the HEPA filter in case the unit is executed with an HEPA filter. Then we empty the water tray, or we also opening the device for active humidity control to allow the moisture to drain out. And then we insert the trays and the water tray, we close the door, and we can start the sterilization program. And that's what you can also see here on this picture. So it is very easy because this sterilization program is already included in the standard delivery execution of the units, and you just have to start this sterilization program directly on the unit. Now let me come to the question. The question has been, with the Memmert standard sterilization program of the CO2 incubator, there can be sterilized the whole interior, including all sensors. How many sensors are sterilized if the CO2 incubator ECO or ECOMAT is executed with K7 active humidity control and T6 control of oxygen generation? Is it 4, 5, or 6? 50% have done the correct reply. So the answer is 5. And I would like to give you also the information. So when we talk about the CO2 incubator, we have here 2 PT100 sensors, which is for temperature and what is for over temperature protection. Then we have a humidity sensor, which is a capacitive sensor. Then we have a CO2 sensor, which is an infrared sensor. And also we have for O2 controlling the sensor. So that means here we have a total of 5 sensors. That was the correct reply in regard to this question. Yeah, let's go now further and let's go and have a look to the next 3 topics. Next 3 topics we have here. So let's have a look on this one. Let's open these ones. Let's go ahead with communication and documentation. Communication and documentation is getting more and more important. So in our units, we consider this communication and documentation, state-of-the-art communication. So we have Ethernet interface for programming and logging. So we have all our devices with a locking possibility. So that means there's a SD card included, and on the SD card, all the data will be stored every minute up to 10 years. And here we're talking about set data, actual data. We are talking about, for example, if there's a blower installed. So all this data will be locked. Furthermore, it is very easy because we have this IP address which can be set on our units. And that means here for the setting, the IP address on the units, you go under the set menu and then you can change the IP address. When we look up here, the presentation, you can see the upper picture, which refers to the logging. So we have a graphical logging, what you can see here, and you can also transfer it in a PDF file, or you can transfer it in an Excel file. And furthermore, you see also here the programming, which is very, very easily. So here you have different parameters. You just drag it down, drag it down a system, and then you can set your program. So that means, for example, if you have a program to run with light, then of course you need to have a unit which is executed with light, and then also there will appear the symbol light for switching on and off, or for example controlling when we talk about HPP Echo product. A large number of devices can be controlled, and that is up to 32 which can be controlled. So Ethernet has advantage high transfer speed, long distances, easy reading out of data. And furthermore, we have also a possibility working with Atmo Web because also our units have the remote access. So we have a lot of possibilities with our products. Let's go on for the next one. That refers now to the performance of our units. And let's have a look here again, performance. Sorry, that is the correct one, performance of our units. So when we talk about the performance, then we have to look on to the heating arrangements of our units. So we have here all round surface heating, and in our units we have, when it comes up to oven incubators, sterilizers, most heating in the bottom, less on the sides, less on the top. The reason is that there is normally, if the the air is heated up, then it goes to the top, and that is involving the very good temperature uniformity inside. We have here higher air throughputs and faster drying processes thanks to enlarged inlet and outlet air openings. So that is requested if you need a high air exchange rate. So please kindly open the air flap completely. Please kindly set the blower speed to 100% because that means you got the maximum air exchange rate. If you look to do the hot air sterilization, please kindly close the air flap because here is very important that no fresh air enters the chamber. And as mentioned, if you would like to go up very fast way, then please kindly set the blower to high speed. Also, our twin models, they have these heat balance functions, which compensates the different heat distribution in the interior. And that means here, even during the heating up process, we have here possibilities for a very good uniformity when we consider the heat balance. Or also optimum distribution of temperature and humidity in Peltier cooled devices with the help of the individually controlling of the Peltier elements. Let's go further and let's have a look to the next file. So here, the next file, let me take this here to the side first. On the next file, we go closer to the heat balance. And heat balance, I also would like to mention again, this starts actually from the size 55 and above. And in normal ovens, for example, of the twin class, it means that we control here the heat from the bottom compared to the top. And that means we can set this balance and we can do a -50 to +50 compared to the heating from the bottom for this better uniformity. And when we now go further and we have a look to these two pictures, then I'm sure it comes into your mind that here a process like validation is here considered. Validation, which means to keep records of processes, procedures, equipment, material, and methods that fulfill the designated requirement, and it is high quality process that assures the safety. So here, when we look up this process, the whole process is actually documented by the IQ, OQ, and PQ. IQ, by the way, is installation qualification, OQ, operation qualification, and PQ, which is the performance qualification, which means the qualification along with the samples included in the product. So here we can see the mapping on top of the unit. So there have been placed different sensors in it. And also a lower unit shows along with the loading, which means here the performance qualification is done. And that means during this performance qualification, also a balance might be a very good possibility for setting. So that means even when the temperature is already stable, reached, then it might be a good way also to consider the heat balance for the uniformity of the interior. A balance setting is, of course, also available for advanced Peltier technology, which means for our products, HPP Echo and IPP Echo. So here also you can do a balance directly on the unit. Now let's go further. Next one, safety. Safety is certainly a very important point as well, because we have to do some applications. We use the unit for a long period of time, so safety will have to be considered. One aspect we are considering under the safety is set point weight. And set point weight makes the operation really very easy, because whenever you activate set point weight, you don't have to consider about the heating up time. And the heating up time actually is depending on the loading, which is included in the product. If you have big loading, if you have small loading, if you change the loading in the interior. So if you're not sure how long does it take, for example, to heat up to 160 degrees, you can just activate set point weight, and only when 160 degrees are reached, the time counts downwards. For the single class and twin class models of incubators, cool incubators, climate chambers, there is a tolerance of plus minus 0.5 degrees when we talk about the set point activation. And for the universal ovens and hot air sterilizers, there is a plus minus 2 Kelvin, which is here the tolerance. If you even would like the set point weight to come closer to the set value, it is possible by using the Atomo control software for the twin class models. So that means then you even can go closer, and then you have mostly pre-sized start for your setting of the temperature and counting downwards then the time. On the controller itself, you can find this activation under the menu point called timer mode. So when we look up here the timer mode, you can see these two graphical displays and information. So that means we have this arrow. One starts directly from the line, and the second one starts only when the temperature has been reached. Next one, in regard to safety. Safety, we have, of course, protection. So we have the mechanical temperature limiter that is standard for all of our products. And that means after the maximum temperature, for example, 20 degrees above the maximum temperature, the unit will be switched off in case of any error. And if case there's no other alarm working anymore, then this definitely switches off the unit, which is a protection for the environment and also for the unit itself. Furthermore, we have here the safety classes like the electronical over temperature protection. So that means we have over temperature protection TWTW class 3.3 or a class 3.1. That is depending if we have protection high and low protection in regards to the temperature. So that, for example, 3.3 is standard execution for our ICP model types. Or we have also the TVB as over temperature protection. So the differences of this is, in case there is any error arising and you have set the over temperature protection, then at this set over temperature protection, the process will be continued whenever we go to the protection class 3.1 or 3.3. If we go for the temperature selection limited TWB, then it means in case something arises, it goes up to this temperature set as protection, and then it will cool down. So it will not continue the process, but it will cool down and stop the heating. Though to mention, the single class unit, they have two over temperature protections like mechanical and electronical protection. And when we talk here about the twin class models, then we really talk about multiple over temperature protection, including this TWW or TWB, along with the temperature limiter, and furthermore also a last point, which refers to the automatic safety function, which is called ASF. So here the automatic safety function comes into consideration when we operate in the ramping process. And in the ramping process, it means we heat up to different steps. Let's have an example here. Let's say we go to 50 degrees, 70 and 90. So we set our maximum alarm over 90 degrees. Then we set a lower alarm below the 30 degrees. But what happens during these ramps, during this heating up ramping? For this reason, we have this ASF, which is the automatic safety function. That is a tolerance band. And this tolerance band, you can set close to the whole process and to the ramping, what you have set on the units. So that is what we also can see here, a tolerance band following the set line. Yeah, and then let's go to the next file that refers to the safety as well. So as an option, you can also have the user ID stick. That is a chamber-specific user authorization license. So that is on the memory stick that could be activated for different parameters. In case you activate it, you have an unwanted manipulation by unauthorized third parties, because it means that there cannot be changed the set parameters. So that is safe for the operation. It's prevention of unintentional changes for individual parameters, and this is only available for the twin class models. So just summarization again. So we are talking about the modularity and flexibility, intuitive operation, quality, comfort, hygiene, communication and documentation, performance and safety. And now let's go on and have the live demonstration on the products. When we look to our products, we can see here our single class unit. So here on our single class unit, we can, for example, set here a timer mode. We can set a flap. We have temperature set and also actual temperature, and we can see the heating up symbol. We can go under the menu. When you're under the menu, please kindly make sure that the first possibility you do is to change the date, the time. And here you start, please, with the time zone. Then you go to the time and date. That is very important, because based on this correct setting, there will be done the storage of the data. And as mentioned, all of our units, they come along with an SD card. And on the SD card, there will be stored the data every minute. Yeah, that was in regard to the single class. We have here the parameter on the left. As you can see here, that is an oven. This oven comes with accessory or option, which is a full-side glass door. So in standard, we have stainless steel for the chamber, and here we have the full-side glass door installed. Let's go further to the twin class model types. When we look to these twin class model types, then we have also here the parameters for the setting on the left. Additionally, we have here parameters on the right. This parameters is mostly in regard to the safety. Safety, we have over temperature protection, under temperature protection for the temperature. And also when we talk about humidity, there is also protection, high humidity and low humidity included. So depending on the model type, the alarm is adjusted for the specific controlling of the parameters. We have also here a graphical display. If we go to the graphical display, we can also see backwards for a couple of days and weeks, how did the unit run? So we can very easily check how did it run for the last period. Furthermore, let's go also here under the menu. Under the menu, we have here language setting, as already mentioned, time, and we can go under the setup. If we are under the setup, you can find here the IP address. If we go lower down here, we can find here if it's Celsius or Fahrenheit. We have here the possibility to change the protection from TWW to TWB. We have here the mode in regard to set point weight function that of course also is available in single class units. And here we have slide in, grid or shelf. Please kindly consider this one. If you change, for example, grid to shelf, please also kindly change it directly on the controller because that has an influence on the uniformity. Then furthermore, let's go down. We have here the balance setting. So here on the setup, you can set the balance, like mentioned, for the heating up or also for the operation. It might be a very good possibility for your specific application. Then we have remote control. That means if you don't want to go with our Atmo control software, but maybe you want to integrate it in your existing systems, or you would like to go by Atmo Web, then we have here the remote control of our products. Yeah, let's go back here again. Let's have here just a look again to this programming. So here we have sterilization. As you can already see, it's an incubator. It says here 4 hours, 160 degrees. And keep in mind, when we talk about incubator of the twin class, then its maximum temperature is actually 80 degrees. And only by starting the sterilization program and process, you go up to 160 degrees, then it will be hot for hours and cools down again. If we look up the units again, for all Memmert products, we use stainless steel. And if we look up this unit and we just open it from the interior, as I mentioned, it's an incubator, so it has an interior glass door. Then we have here 2 sensors, PT100 sensor for temperature and for over temperature protection, all made out of stainless steel. Yeah, this was all in regards to our 2 days webinar. I would like to thank you very much for being with us today. There had been today almost 200 participants, so thank you very much for joining in our webinar today. I hope that you could get to know some interesting details and information which are mostly useful for your operation in your laboratory. If there is any further question, please kindly feel free to contact us. We will be very happy to send you our replies. Please kindly let us know if also any further information is requested or any brochure. And please kindly let me already wish you by now a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Stay curious and have a perfect Tuesday and stay safe. And now, just at the end, let's have a look to all of the topics we had today. And we just mentioned these topics also when I said goodbye. So all the best to you. Stay healthy, stay safe from the Memmert family. Bye-bye.